In the world of AI, things move incredibly fast. We're talking billions of dollars shifting in a blink, research moving at light speed, and the tools we all use changing practically overnight. So, what we're going to do here is cut right through all that noise. We're digging into the latest Next in AI newsletter to pull out the key signals, the stuff you really need to pay attention to.
All right, let's kick things off with a number that honestly just stopped everyone in their tracks this week. Over $1 billion. I mean, what does a figure with that many zeros even mean in the AI space right now?
Well, get this. That $1 billion, that's the largest seed funding round in European history. Just let that sink in for a second. This isn't money going to some huge established company. Nope. This is a massive bet on a brand new startup. Basically just an idea. It just shows you the sheer scale of ambition and, frankly, the fire hose of cash pouring into AI at this very moment.
Okay, so how do we make sense of all this? Here's the plan. First, we're going to follow the money, starting with that $1 billion bet and then looking at other big strategic moves. After that, we'll jump over to what's happening in the research labs. Then we'll check out the new tools you can actually use. And finally, we'll connect all the dots to really see the big picture of where AI is headed.
All right, first things first, let's really dig into the story behind that massive headline. Who is behind this and why on earth are they making such a huge bet?
So the company at the heart of this is called AMI Labs. And its founder? Well, he's basically a legend in the industry, Yann LeCun. You might know him as Meta's former chief AI scientist. He's a genuine pioneer of deep learning. Look, when a guy like LeCun makes a move, the entire industry pays attention. And this time, they didn't just pay attention, they opened their wallets, big time. And just check out who's backing this bet. You've got NVIDIA, right? The absolute key player in AI hardware. You've got Temasek, a huge sovereign wealth fund. You've even got Jeff Bezos' own investment firm. This is not your typical venture capital round. This is a strategic team-up of global power players, and they are all sending a massive signal of confidence in whatever Yann LeCun is building.
Okay, so that $1 billion round is a huge signal, for sure, but it's not happening in a vacuum. To really get what's going on, you have to look at the other strategic moves the big players are making. And when you do, you see this fascinating picture of a market that's, well, it's growing up fast.
And this chart breaks down the different game plans perfectly. On one side, you've got AI labs going all in on foundational models, the absolute core of AI. Then you've got OpenAI, who's already a leader there, but now they're shifting focus to enterprise security. And then there's NVIDIA, pushing AI out of the digital world and into the physical one. These are three totally different bets on where the future is going. So let's talk about OpenAI buying Promptfoo. This is a really important signal, especially for any executives listening. As more and more companies start using AI, locking these systems down is not a nice-to-have feature anymore. It's becoming a fundamental, can't live without it, part of the whole tech stack. And then you have this partnership between NVIDIA and ABB Robotics, which is, well, it's the next frontier, right? They're taking AI off the screen and putting it into the real world. We are so far beyond chatbots here. This is about smart robots completely changing the factory floor and really the entire future of how we make things. Okay, so we followed the money. Now let's switch gears from capital to code and to the big ideas. Where is the absolute bleeding edge of AI research headed? Because the questions being asked in labs right now, those are going to shape the products we're all using tomorrow. So here's a big question, and one that's probably on the minds of a lot of professionals out there. Can you actually trust a large language model to manage your finances? I mean, we hear all the hype about it, but are they actually any good? And this is where the research community adds some serious value. There's this new benchmark called A5 that stands for AI Financial Intelligence Benchmark. And what it does is move past just stories and anecdotes. It's a really tough, systematic way to test how well these models, like GPT and Gemini, can actually reason about finance. It's all about separating the hype from what's real. Okay, let's bring this a little closer to home. We're all filling our houses with smart devices, right? Consumer robots, smart speakers, the whole shebang. So what does the explosion of generative AI mean for the security of all that stuff? Well, it turns out AI isn't just a tool to defend against attacks anymore. New research is showing that generative AI can actually be used to hack things like consumer robots. It's making it way easier for attackers to find and exploit weaknesses that used to require a ton of specialized knowledge. For cybersecurity, this is a total game changer. And this quote from a research paper called Post-Train Bench.
It kind of points to the ultimate question. We've seen AI write code, we've seen it find security flaws. So researchers are now asking, can these systems start to automate AI research itself? Think about that for a second. That is a massive shift. It points to a future where the speed of innovation could just explode. All right, so we've seen the money and the big ideas. Now let's talk about the practical stuff. What are the tangible tools coming out of all this? Because these aren't just theories anymore. These are actual products that are changing how we work right now.
The really big trend you'll see here is the shift from a single chatbot to like a whole team of AI agents. We're seeing systems that can review code for you, platforms that let you manage a whole swarm of AIs doing actual work, and even AI coworkers built right into the software you already use, whether that's Microsoft 365 or your favorite video editor.
And what's super interesting is that we're seeing AI develop along two parallel tracks. On one hand, you have these gigantic cloud-based systems like Hugging Face's Ulysses, designed to chew through millions of tokens of context. But at the exact same time, you've got this push towards powerful, tiny hardware, like the Ventuno Q, which is all about putting AI on the edge, right on your devices, in your hands.
Okay, so we've looked at the capital, the research, and the new tools. For this last part, let's zoom out and connect the dots. What are the big overarching trends that all these signals are pointing to? What's the big picture for AI going forward?
So it really boils down to three main takeaways. First, governance is everything. As we start using whole teams of AI agents, things like spine swarms show us that managing and overseeing them becomes absolutely critical. Second, AI is moving to the edge. It's not just in the cloud anymore. Products like the Ventuno Q prove it's coming to our phones, our cars, our homes. And third, the future is human-centered. The best tools, like wideframe for video editors, aren't about replacing people. They're about augmenting our unique creativity and taste.
And all of this leaves us with a really big question to think about for the next few years. If AI starts managing its own teams and even starts automating its own research, what does our role become? It feels like it shifts, right? It becomes less about doing the grunt work and more about deciding what work is even worth doing in the first place. It puts the focus back on direction, on oversight, and on that uniquely human spark of creativity. And that's the new frontier.